Hello to the Vape Village. It's fantastic to have one of our international guest speakers for our upcoming state conference with us here today. This is Associate Professor Suzanne Choo, who is, I was going to read the whole of your academic title there. I need to read it to make sure I get it right. So you're an Associate Professor in English Language and Literature Academic Group at the National Institute of Education in Singapore. It is such a fantastic byproduct of 2020 that we are able to have you at our conference. I saw you at the 8 IFTI conference, which was also online, and myself and some of the other people at VATE just absolutely wanted to secure you for our conference as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
The title of your session at the state conference is The Need for Cosmopolitan Literacy in the Age of the Global Pandemic. What can people expect from your session?
Okay, I'm very excited to share at your conference. I think one of the areas that I've been researching for many years has to do with the concept of cosmopolitanism. So cosmopolitanism is a very ancient concept. Most people associate it with Socrates, Aristotle in ancient Greece. But I've also been looking at the concept in the East, particularly in the ideas of Confucius and others. I think it's a very important concept today, given the pandemic, the global pandemic that has led to widespread xenophobia, intolerance all over the world. I think if you remember when the pandemic started, there were terms like the Wuhan virus, Kung flu, and so on. So a lot of discrimination we saw in the media. And I think education has a fundamental role today to foster cosmopolitan dispositions of openness, empathy, hospitality towards others who are different. I think in my talk, I want to focus on literature education, how teachers can use literature and the kinds of pedagogical approaches that they can encourage in their classrooms. In particular, how these can actually speak back to what students might experience and what they might see in the mass media and the perpetuation of stereotypes and intolerance. So I will be covering two areas. One will have to do with pedagogical approaches that foster cosmopolitan openness. And the other I'm going to focus on would be what I call dispositional routines. That is, we often think of pedagogy as in terms of like innovative strategies we do one time and then that's it. But I'm more interested in how pedagogies are connected to values and the kinds of pedagogies that we reinforce. Oftentimes, these routines may be unconscious, but the reinforcement of these routines actually leads to certain habits, certain character traits in students. Okay, so I think that's the gist of what we'll be sharing. I think it'll be very exciting. I have worked with teachers all over the world, from Australia, Singapore, Finland, United States. I'm also part of the Global Learning Alliance. So we do a lot of intercultural projects where students work with students from other countries. And I'm going to share some of these examples so to give you a very practical idea of what can be done.
I'm so excited about this session. We have, as part of the Victorian curriculum, the intercultural capability, which sits outside of the English curriculum, but is something that I think a lot of teachers struggle with how to actually integrate, as you say, into their pedagogical practice. So often it will simply stop at choosing texts by authors with diverse cultural backgrounds and then they stop there. It's far more than that. It's about, as you say, the disposition and the pedagogy in the classroom. So I'm so excited to hear the fruits of your research and your thinking on this.
Yeah, I'm excited to share. I think I've recently written a few articles specifically about what I call the pedagogy of interruption. And that is, pedagogy is not simply to raise awareness. I think that's one aspect of pedagogy, where we introduce texts from around the world to raise awareness. But I think going further, we also need to think about how pedagogies can interrupt discourses that are harmful that spread bias towards others. So that's the pedagogy of interruption, and that it also includes learning how to read borders, invisible and visible borders that we set up in our societies as well.
Well, I wish I could keep you on the line for the for the rest of today. I love these ideas, and I think they're so important at this moment in our cultural development in Australia, where I think
and around the world.
Yeah, unfortunately everywhere probably. But I think so many of the teachers in Victoria are so hungry to think about our practice and how we can do better in the classroom. And I think this is going to be a really exciting session for that at conference. So
Yeah,
thank you
I'm
so much.
excited to meet the teachers as well. Thank you so much for having me, and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. And so if you want to come along to this session and the conference, please jump onto the VATE website and register. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic session. So thank you so much for joining us today, Associate Professor Suzanne Choo. Thank you so much.